February 7th. Like, he has gone against not just Tesla, but like all electric vehicles unconditionally as a EV owner. I'm frustrated by this, but part of that has played a role in obviously Tesla stocks, alongside, Elon Musk being so closely associated with this administration, an administration that is actively undermining electric vehicles' future in this country, has caused Tesla stocks to plummet. So now he's trying to fix the situation just for Tesla. Just for Tesla. Nobody else. Teslas are so good. Yeah, he says, Trump says he will label violence against Tesla dealerships as a form of domestic terrorism. He's like, if you draw a penis on a Cybertruck, you're going to jail. You're doing terrorism. Hurt Israel's feelings, terrorism. Hurt a Tesla owner's feelings, terrorism. It's kind of funny because, while there is central planning in China, and obviously they've played an active role, the government has played an active role in heavily subsidizing EV production and flooding the European and global markets with affordable Chinese electric vehicles. I don't even think the Chinese government would be like, if you were to say that BYD is bad, we are going to you. Like, the country, not necessarily known for free speech protections, probably wouldn't go, oh yeah, if you had any criticisms against BYD, you're going to Chinese jail. Amazing stuff coming from the free speech country. We are gonna do our very best to claw back the Tesla stocks.
That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer.
Wow, everything's computer. I love it. It's computer. So much computer.
That's beautiful.
Wow. I think confidence in Tesla is at an all-time low. Confidence in Elon is at an all-time low, which is why confidence in Tesla is at an all-time low. And I think Donald Trump associating himself this openly with Tesla is probably going to piss people off, especially because his fan base have actively on electric vehicles. Donald Trump has actively on electric vehicles. Trump supporters are not necessarily big electric vehicle fans. They think it's gay, it's woke, it's lib. Yesterday, Tesla stocks were at its lowest point, as in it had dropped so much that it was at the same point it was in 2020. Tesla stocks had gotten down to a point where if you had purchased Tesla stock in 2020, your Tesla stocks was worth the same as they were in 2020. It's unfortunately up 5% today. Yeah, I mean, when the president comes out and actively promotes Teslas, I'm sure it'll go up a little bit. But having said that, I think people's anger and resentment towards Teslas being branded as the swastika mobile is probably going to continue.
I do notice this. They have one, which is $35,000, which is pretty low.
Yeah, let this man do full self-driving, man. Come on, please. I have a lot of confidence in Teslas. I really want Donald Trump to do a FSD. Just click on the FSD and drive away into the sunset, baby. See where it takes you. Come on. Come on.
We have to celebrate him. And it's not that he's conservative. I don't even know if he's conservative. I will tell you this.
It's pretty funny to think that, in the first Trump administration, people would talk about the Hatch Act, right? People would talk about the Hatch Act and be like, oh, Trump is violating the Hatch Act. Now it's just so, that's the expectation. The expectation is just yeah, no, he's gonna do that. And there's not really much you can say.
And I'm bringing the incentives back. And I'll tell you what, numerous plants, and I don't want to mention specifically, but I'll mention this one. Numerous plants in Mexico and other places that were under construction or soon to be under construction are now coming here, and they've dropped that because it was unfair what was happening. Mexico, they were building
Eurochatter asks, what is the Hatch Act? The Hatch Act of 1939 is an act to prevent pernicious political activities. It is a United States federal law that prohibits civil service employees in the executive branch of the federal government, except the president and vice president, from engaging in some forms of political activity. Basically, it's you're not allowed to do this, exactly this, which is for your own personal gain or for any other reasons to promote it's basically to stop Donald Trump or other presidents and other civil servants from doing exactly this, which is a QVC / ad, a specific product. Why would that be something that the federal government would want to stop from happening? It's because they don't want someone to get $100 million in campaign contributions and then with that $100 million have the president do an ad when the stock prices are tanking for your company. It's because it's you have from the bully pulpit, you have awesome power and responsibility, and utilizing the bully pulpit to do an ad for one company after someone gave you money would be pure corruption. Pure corruption. That is what this is. This is the exact reason as to why they don't want this to, they wanted to stop this from happening. It forbids the intimidation or bribery of voters and restricts political campaign activities by federal employees. It prohibits using any public funds designated for the relief of public works for electoral purposes. Forbids officials paid with federal funds from using promises of jobs promotion, financial assistance, contracts, or any other benefits to coerce campaign contributions or political support.
We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed. Lots of people.
Is Zelensky invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
Mr. President, you mentioned the ups and downs in the stock market. You said it'll go up, it'll go down. But do you and your tariff policies right now bear any responsibility for the turmoil we're seeing this week?
Biden gave us a horrible economy. He gave us horrible inflation. And I think the market was going to go very, very bad. If anything, I have a lot of very smart people, friends of mine and great businessmen. They're now investing because of what I'm doing. Because long term, what I'm doing is making our country strong again.
I guess the exemptions given to the president and vice president in the Hatch Act is part of the reason why the media is not talking about this either. Because there are exemptions because the president and vice president have more power than the regular federal employees. So that's probably part of the reason why people don't even talk about it. The other reason is because no one gives a Trump's tariff flip-flopping isn't a bad strategy. It is this strategy. Chaos keeps markets, media, and the world leaves off balance, making him the center of attention. He doesn't care about policy, just controlling the narrative. He threatens them backs off to claim victory. No, I think it's that market volatility, that instability actually causes stock prices to go down so that they can engage in like some semblance of market consolidation at the lowest possible point that they can, only to rebound with stability, I guess. But that is the only logical conclusion, and that's kind of what Donald Trump was talking about right here, too. He's like, buy the dip when the market is down. But it doesn't make sense. It truly does not make sense, because this level of instability is going to make it harder for people to have confidence in the market.
The Ontario Premier calling you and giving you his decision about the electricity surcharge, and you said you were pleased about that. Will you make a different decision now about the tariffs on Canada, where you reduce it?
At that, but probably so. Yeah, he was a gentleman. He was a gentleman. Look, I said it before. We give Canada $200 billion a year. We subsidize Canada between all of the things we give them and trade. We give them. We don't have to have cars made in Canada. We don't have to have lumber from Canada. We have tremendous lumber. We have tremendous trees. All I have to do is unfreeze them from some of the restrictions that were put on. I can do that with an executive order. We don't need energy. We have more energy than anybody else in the world. So we spend $200 billion a year subsidizing Canada. We don't have to do that. And frankly, the way that gets solved is Canada should honestly become our 51st state. We wouldn't have a northern border problem. We wouldn't have a tariff problem. They don't have much. They spend very little, as you know, the least of almost anybody on military, and we spend the most of anybody on military. We have a great military. I rebuilt the military during my first time. We're going to have to rebuild it a little bit again, not that much, but we're going to have to rebuild it a little bit again. But Canada would be great as our cherished 51st state. You wouldn't have to worry about borders. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. And by the way, Canada is very highly taxed, and we're very low tax. We're considered a low-tax nation because of me, because I cut the taxes so low. So the people of Canada would pay much less tax. It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, when you take away that artificial line that looks like it was done with a ruler, and that's what it was. Some guy sat there years ago and they said, "Rah." Well, when you take away that and you look at that beautiful formation of Canada and the United States, there is no place anywhere in the world that looks like that. It's
Plus Greenland.
it's,
President, any states on Greenland?
and then if you add Greenland, that's even.
I mean,
that's pretty
it's
good.
going to look beautiful.
Okay? I'm going to look at this. I'm going to make a decision. Do you want to hear what my decision?
Let's see it.
Okay. What's your best of these cars? What do you think?
Well, the car that I drive is the Model S Plaid.
Which is that one?
That red one in the middle.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.